right. Okay. Let's get this party started because I am eager to talk about Azostos again. We're wrapping up a just like the April series, or the Aries series, because we do have another Nomine Hekate at the end of the month, but we will already be under the Taurus new moon. We'll be gathering under the dark moon. So tonight we are celebrating this. Melanie, hi, love. How are you? Blessed in Nomine Hekate, blessed full moon. I always, just so you know, I always love hearing about your environmental experiences while on these calls, because you live in such a beautiful rural area, and I don't have that. So of course, right, grass is greener. I hope you're having a wonderful night. All the things. I know it's a little bit later there. I was just mentioning how we are wrapping up our Aries series with Azostos. We do still have another Nomine Hekate in April, but we will be doing something a little bit different because we'll be in a different vibration, right? Because we'll have gone into Taurus season. But right now we are still knee deep, neck deep, let's say neck deep into Aries. My name is Mandy Wild. I'm the Wild Medium. I'm a psychic medium and astrologer, and I have dedicated myself to the radical rituals of the highly misunderstood darker aspects of the divine feminine. Welcome to Nomine Hekate. This is an open door to all devotees, as well as those who are just Hekate curious. Not just Hekate curious. That's a big thing. That's a big deal. That's why I'm here tonight. That's why I am a part of a coven that spreads this message. We want to get her name out as much as possible. And this is my personal contribution. It means a whole lot to me. And I know it means a lot to the practitioners that I surround myself with. All right. So a little bit about the structure of the evening. We're going to chat more about Azostos. If you missed last week, you can go check it out. It's great information, like moving forward, just so you have that the basics and not so basics of Azostos, the Unbound. I love this epithet of Hekate. I have decided to write an entire book on it. So there's that. But we're going to do another chat about Azostos, kind of like rounding it out a bit, and then a short visualization. And we will end on a nice ritual. Actually, I don't even want to call it nice, a powerful ritual, because Azostos wants power, right? It is us gaining our power back, essentially. So if you are on Patreon, check your notes. I have put in there the calling and directions. I've put in the actual ritual, so you can follow along there if you need to, or if you'd like to. But for now, let's call in the directions. You can join along if you know these. If not, no biggie. I call to the east where the air takes flight, filling our lungs with breath pure of life. I call to the south where the fire burns bright, protecting and guiding like torches in the night. I call to the west where the waters full might, feeding and nourishing our gift of inner sight. I call to the north where the earth holds tight, grounding us here under the moon's soft light. I call to spirit in quiet introspection, a journey within, seeking souls connection. All right. Tell you what, the courage we need is this full moon, right? this full moon. I love this full moon. This is a nice salve, right? A nice salve to some of the astrology that we have been experiencing. And so I'm happy to say that things should be starting to unravel, should be unbinding, shall I say. So in the near future, we are still under the shades of a lot of things, right? And Venus goes back retrograde, goes back direct tomorrow by the full moon. So that will be fun. And of course, the full moon is in Libra, which is also ruled by Venus. Let's see. Ron, welcome. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Yay! So happy that you're here. Melanie says, it's so cold here. I can't wait for warmer weather. We got it for you. It was like 85 here. Right, Ron? you're in LA too. Like it was like 85 here. But again, like that whole grass is greener. We definitely miss a little bit of that. I feel like I like to put on some layers once in a while. Now, last week, let's recap just a bit. Last week we talked about Hekate Azostos, the Unbound, right? And especially under that eclipse, it was like cracking open our cages. We looked at the edge of transformation with our hands trembling, our hearts defiant, and we dared to choose freedom. But here we are this week. What comes next? What comes next? Now, it's simplified, right? Like this is working with Azostos is a journey, is a process because it takes time to do this. But I'm giving you these little nuggets so you can take them and string them out as long as you need to as you're working with her and come and go as you please. But let's talk about after you get to the point of breaking the chains, of unbinding yourself, what comes next? Well, under a full moon, this is a great time for drastic release, right? So what a perfect segue to tonight's gathering, because it's one thing to break a chain. It's another thing entirely to live without it. So Azostos is not just the moment of unbinding, right? She's also that current that starts to flow directly afterwards. Yes, right afterwards. It's that strange, that kind of like electric quiet. Have we ever been in like someplace that's like so quiet it feels loud? That's Azostos. While your senses start to recalibrate, right? It's the breath after the scream. If you were at a point where you were like, let's break free, it's that reverberation afterwards. It's the stillness after the spell is cast and the bindings fall away. It still encompasses Azostos. We've all done very powerful work in our lives, whether it's magical or like self, like we've done something for ourselves, good for ourselves. And after that change, you're vibrating. That energy is still there. You don't just like, leave the toxic relationship or the job and or leave a home and go start anew or have a baby or like get a dog or whatever it is. There's still a moment of reverberation that lives within that space. That is Azostos still. Freedom is quite active, isn't it? It's quite active. It isn't just like this lack of constraint. It is a living, breathing state of being that demands attention, it demands devotion, and it demands presence, a a constant. It's a commitment. Being free is a commitment. To live unbound is to meet yourself freshly every day, without chains that define you, without old stories to lean on. So we have to begin to ask ourselves, who are we now? What does that look like? Because that sacred discomfort, because it is a little bit uncomfortable, especially when you're like, I'm free, like I did this thing, or I'm so proud of myself, I broke a pattern and I was able to move into the next like stage of my life. But that also is a little uncomfortable. Think about like you get the perfect job, right? And you work so hard at it and you go, the first day is still a little unnerving. You have the butterflies, right? You don't know everyone's name. It's uneasy. And there's this like kind of, that is still Azostos. It's still those echoes that surround the idea of the unboundness. She gives no easy answers. We know that. Very Saturnal. She only gives raw materials. Fire, silence, will. And from there we shall build. From there we build. Some days liberation feels wild and exuberant, but other days it feels disoriented. Like staring into the wide open and wondering like where the walls went. That's unsettling. You spend all that time breaking them down. But then where'd the walls go? Do you feel naked? Do you feel exposed? Yes, probably. You probably can breathe a lot easier. You're like, finally. But then what? This is her teaching too, right? Because we were never meant to live within these walls. Azostos is not just the eruption. It's often the strange, abrupt clarity that comes afterwards. Because that is unbound itself. When we think of liberation, we think often of like we fixate on like a moment, right, of breaking free, the shout, the slam of the door as we're walking out the door, right? Like boom, the sword through the knot. Yes, the Azostos is all of that, but more. She is what comes next. So after the bindings are broke, there is a space. There is a void that was once filled with noise, that was filled with expectations, and that was filled with conditioning and control. And in that space, you now have silence. And it is in that space that the truth starts to rise. The aftermath of liberation is not always celebration. It can be grief, and that's okay. Because for grief is the version of ourselves that only knew how to exist in chains, boundaries, or whatever it was that you released. And that can leave us disoriented. Because even if the cage was painful, at least it had a shape. So when it's gone, the horizon stretches in every direction, and that kind of openness can feel a little too much. So, Hekate Azostos teaches us that this newness, this stillness is very sacred. Strange, maybe at first, but it's very sacred, and we should treat it as so. It's like the fresh soil of like a new becoming. We're coming into Taurus season in a couple of weeks. The soil, it's of becoming, right? It's where your first true thoughts are heard. The thoughts that are shaped maybe in the past by survival, but now they're not filtered by fear because we released that. So it's within this new clarity that we can begin to ask some real questions like, if no one told me who to be, who would I become? If I didn't fear punishment, how would I live? If I believed I was whole and holy, what would I choose? Now, this is important. She doesn't just want you to be free. She wants you to live free. To carry what it feels like and what it looks like into your relationships, into your work, into your rituals, into your voice. And remember that aftermath of liberation is a liminal season. That liminality, very Hekatean, right? And I noticed I said season. Seasons last a while. Not a liminal day, not a liminal hour, a liminal season. But seasons do change, and it will change as well. It's the walk with your soul intact for the first time in a long time. What does that feel like? What does that look like? And Azostos walks there beside you. But we know she's not a rescuer, but she is a presence. And she just waits to see what you will do with your freedom. And you know that moment when something finally breaks loose in your life, if you've got like an old pattern or like a role you never chose for yourself, yet you have become this. Maybe it's like the pressure to be quiet. I had that as a child. Going back to the South, we lived in New Mexico, and we would go back to the South, to Louisiana, to visit my family. And it was a big room of like loud men, and then the women were like busy in the kitchen. And I would sneak into the living room to try and chat with like my uncles and cousins, and they did not want to know what I had to say. We were told to be quiet. They didn't want to know what the women had to say. They were told to be quiet. That did not sit well with me. And I wasn't very quiet, but I did retain some of that and had to get over it. And still, even to this day, I sometimes have to remind myself to use my voice more than I do. Things like that take holds, and we can shed them as much as we possibly can. And still, if it's so ingrained, they come back, right? And we have to keep practicing. So achieving some sort of like release or freedom or unboundness will come back eventually, of course, right? Something will take hold. So practice it. It's that exercise. So it's easy, I guess, to think that being free means having no structure at all, no rules, no boundaries. especially if you've spent a very long time under someone else's control or expectations. But Azostos gives us something a bit deeper, right? The chance to shape our lives from inside out, not based on fear anymore, but from what actually matters to you. You've got this like clean slate to just like this mold, this wet clay that is ready to be shaped into whatever it is that you want now. It's a holy wildness. I kept saying that this week, like holy wildness. It's like a river, like completely natural, but powerful enough to shape its own path, right? It can shape through stone. And it doesn't need permission to flow, and neither do you. It knows its way. It has a rhythm, and it's not about approval or fitting in. It's just about your soul remembering how to move in a way that feels real. And this wildness, it's special because it's honest. It doesn't pretend to just keep things smooth. It doesn't twist itself into something smaller just to make people feel comfortable. Fuck that. It tells the truth, even when it's inconvenient. Living unshackled doesn't mean throwing out every bit of structure, though. It means building something that comes from devotion, not fear. Start choosing what you protect, what you stand for, and what you will never betray in yourself again. In this new space, your compass isn't your logical mind alone. It's your body. It's your breath. It's that quietness that doesn't always explain itself, but it feels very solid, right? It helps you stand still when the world is trying to shake you, and it's what helps you shake the world when it's trying to confine you. And when the shackles fall, what rises in their place is power. Freedom isn't empty, it's charged. It's full of choice, and it's full of consequence, but it's full of potential. And once you are no longer answering to old systems or silencing your voice to survive them, the questions become, how will you wield this new fire? Because Azostos does not liberate for the sake of chaos either. As much as I've probably tried to will her to at times, it's not just for the sake of chaos. She liberates to make space for self-aligned responsibility, for an inner compass, forged not in obedience to outer laws, but in alignment with personal truth, integrity, and accountability. Right? It's the responsibility to make choices that are rooted in our souls, not our ego. Not our ego, Mandy. And that's not always easy. In fact, it's harder than following rules someone else laid out for you. Right? Azostos asks us to consider, what do you do with your words now that they're not silenced? What do you do with your will now that no one is forcing your hand? What do you do with your body now that they are yours alone to govern? What do you do with your influence now that it's alone yours to govern? What do you do with your voice? Responsibility is in the hands of the unshackled soul, being conscious, not about playing small and not trying to keep safe. So I feel like we can get into, well, I want to get into our visualization, but I was looking at our visualization and it just reminded me that Azostos is not just about like severing and then healing, right? It's Azostos is not the escape. It is the exorcism. It is leaving behind those echoes and kind of facing them like head on for a bit and then finally leaving them behind. If you live in a place that has earthquakes, you have the big shake, right? And then you have these aftershocks that happen for days afterwards. Some of them smaller than others, some of them a little bit grander. That is still that vibration I'm talking about. That's that Azostos, that unboundness. Like she's still just like rattling and shaking herself free. And just because the big one is done doesn't mean there's not going to be a couple of others that need our attention. Because here's the truth. Bindings may be gone, but the body remembers. The soul remembers. And so the work becomes not just to remove this stuff, but to trust that it is truly gone. So how do we stop carrying these echoes? How do we get past that? Well, we name it, and then we grieve it, and then we thank it, and then we release it. Not in rage, though, just in reverence. Right? So let's do a little visualization. Let me see what I've got over here. Blue forever. Hi, welcome. How are you? Aww. Let's see what we've got over here. Alex, how are you, love? All right. Okay. Let's do our little visualization. So let's take a deep breath through our nose. After we do this, on Patreon, you'll notice that I've written out the ritual that we're going to do together. So you can follow along. And then I had also asked if you have something heavy. I've got like a nice little rock. I collect rocks, by the way. I have since I was a little girl. I've even got some in my belly because I used to swallow them when I was a kid. Fun fact. I'm full of rocks. So not good for my digestive system. But what are you going to do? Anyway, I've got a huge thing of rocks, but I chose this one for today. We're going to hold something weighted or heavy. It can be anything. It could be a book. It could be just something that has some weight to it to represent the weight we're going to shed. But we're going to do the visualization first. And then after that, you'll hear me say just like a very short purification in Greek. And then we will go into the ritual 3 times. And I have like your waves, your hands moving in circular motion, some like open and closing of the hands to release. I've got a couple of like little things in there. So you can follow along on Patreon if you like. or you can just follow along with your ears. All right. So we're just going to take a deep breath in. We're going to do a little visualization, a little bit different than some meditations, but just kind of get steady. Exhale through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. Feel your feet firmly planted. This body is yours. This moment is yours. Nothing outside of you is needed right now. Just your presence. And close our eyes if you feel comfortable. With each breath, we're going to travel inward. Start to feel the roots growing from the soles of your feet or your tailbone, or even your back, however you're sitting or standing or laying. Get real grounded. I want you to imagine an activation at the crown of your head. And just allow it to open up and connect with that spirit realm. Go ahead and guide a beautiful, bright orb of light around you. You are safe, and you are warm, and you are loved. And I want you to use this third eye here to start some visualization. I want you to picture that you are in a great corridor of stone. Old, older than memory, older than myth. You are barefoot on its floor, and torches line the walls, and their flames are steady and golden. You begin to walk forward. And with each step, I want you to really feel like something is loosening. Maybe it's an old fear. Have it just kind of drop away. Maybe you've got like cloaks on your back, and let them like represent like old fears. Maybe an outdated story. Just let it fall from your shoulders. Just keep walking forward. You can notice that they're falling, whatever it is, just allow them to keep falling off of you as you walk forward. Don't mourn them. Don't even nod in recognition. Just keep walking. Notice whatever else is needing to fall away. Ahead, this corridor is going to open into a vast clearing. Whatever that clearing looks like to you. You start to feel electricity in this area. Know that this is Azostos. You start to feel Hekate, her presence around you. Can't quite see her physically, but you see her in your mind's eye. You know she's there. Maybe she's shifting shapes in your mind even. She is speaking to you in a volume only you can hear. She's asking you, who will you become? in my presence. You kind of recognize the words. Allow them to just kind of settle in for a moment. Notice that she's asking you not how you broke free, not what you have lost, but now this figure that you're seeing in your mind's eye, or maybe you physically are seeing a shape that's starting to take form over and over again, is nodding, gesturing for you to look back at the trail of what you have shed. You've done what many never dare to do. It's a big deal to release things, right? They become heavy to us, and sometimes that's comforting, and you're releasing them. But you start to feel it, that freedom. Your mind is clearing. It's not disoriented right now. There's a peace that you feel in the very marrow of your bones, and it's very real. Hekate is holding a mirror. She's holding a mirror in her hands, and you look in it. And for a moment, you see those old things, not on your body, but in your posture, the way you tilt your head, the way you hold your breath, maybe, without realizing it. These are ghosts she's showing you of those bindings. Yes, you left them behind, but they're still showing up in this mirror. And she's asking you, do you still need them? I want you to take a big breath and exhale. In doing so, I want you to release those ghosts. Just let them fall off as you're looking in this mirror. Let them fall away one by one. Begin to reclaim your shape. Begin to reclaim your breath. You are not who you were. You are who you choose to become. Now, I want you to start to feel the ground beneath your feet again. Maybe feel like the pulse in your feet. Maybe you feel it in your legs if you're sitting down. Start to bring your awareness back to your physical body. When you're ready, return to this space. And we are going to get ready. We are going to get ready. Well, that didn't work. For our ritual. So if you've got something heavy to hold, go ahead and grab that. Azostos kathari zetin hodon. Azostos, flame walker, chain splitter, thunder tongue, you who move through shackles and name them false, you who snap old packs like kindling, you who come not gently but righteously, bearing fire and fierce liberation. I call upon you now, in the after, in the space beyond the break, where the air still hums with rupture, and I am learning how to walk again without the weight that once told me who I was. Oh, she who untangles all knots. Oh, she who walks beyond the cracks in the world. Oh, compass of the wild soul, teach me to bear this freedom, not in chaos, not in collapse, but in holy wildness, the sacred rhythm of what grows without permission, of what cannot be caged or coerced. Let me remember that the storm was not my undoing, it was my unmaking, and now I begin again. You who break and reforge, come, torchbearer of the unruled path, come, breaker of oaths that were not chosen, come, caller of lightning and bone and spirit, come, I call you by these names that delight your essence, she of the cracked ground and open skies, breaker of mirrors, wind sister, who hears what is not spoken, torch mouth, who speaks the unspeakable, storm body, whose steps shatter maps, guide of the wild compass, queen of the edge, unfetterer of the living, voice between echo and silence, watcher in the wake, guardian of the pathless flame, she who breathes between names, the unquiet, Azostos, Azostos, Azostos. Do this for me. Steady my hands as I walk without tethers. Teach me the sacred weight of choice. Cleanse the marrow of the old permissions I no longer need. Let no ghost of the old chains cling to my skin. Let no fear of my freedom sour my steps. Let me remember I am not adrift. I am unbound. I am not lost. I am uncaged by the fire of your breath, by the storm of your feet, by the wild order you reveal in all things untamed. So be it, so it begins, so I walk. Azostos, flame walker, chain splitter, thunder tongued, you who move through shackles and name them false, you who snap old packs like kindling, you who come not gently but righteously, bearing fire and fierce liberation, I call upon you in the after, in the space beyond the break, where the air still hums with rupture, and I am learning how to walk again without the weight that once told me who I was. Oh, she who untangles all knots. Oh, she who walks between the cracks in the world. Oh, compass of the wild soul, teach me to bear this freedom, not in chaos, not in collapse, but in holy wildness, the sacred rhythm of what grows without permission, of what cannot be caged or coerced. Let me remember that the storm was not my undoing, it was my unmaking, and now I am begin again. You who break and reforge, come, you torchbearer of the unruled path, come, breaker of oaths that were not chosen, come, caller of lightning and bone and spirit, come, I call you by these names that delight your essence, she who cracked the ground and opened skies, breaker of mirrors, wind sister who hears what is not spoken, torch mouth who speaks that unspeakable, storm body whose steps shatter maps, guide of the wild compass, queen of the edge, unfetterer of the living, voice between echo and silence, watcher in the wake, guardian of the pathless flame, she who breathes between names, the unquiet quiet, Azostos, 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 do this for me. Steady my hands as I walk without tethers. Teach me the sacred weight of choice. Cleanse the marrow of old permissions that I no longer need. Let the ghost of the old chains cling to my skin. Let no fear of my own freedom sour my steps. Let me remember I am not adrift. I am unbound. I am not lost. I am uncaged. By the fire of your breath, by the storms of your feet, by the wild order you reveal in all things untamed. So be it, so it begins, so I walk. Azostos, flame walker, chain splitter, thunder tongued, you who move through shackles and name the false, you who snap old packs like kindling, you who come not gently but righteously, bearing fire, fierce liberation. I call upon you now in the after, in the space beyond the break, where the air still hums with rupture, and I am learning how to walk again without the weight that once told me who I was. She who untangles all knots. Oh, she who walks between the cracks in the world. Oh, compass of the wild soul, teach me to bear this freedom, not in chaos, not in collapse, but in holy wildness, the sacred rhythm of what grows without permission, of what cannot be caged or coerced. Let me remember that the storm was not my undoing, it was my unmaking. And now I begin again. You who break the reform, come, torchbearer of the unruled path. Come, breaker of oaths that were not chosen. Come, caller of the lightning in bone and spirit. Come, I call you by these names that delight your essence. She who cracked ground, open skies, breaker of mirrors, wind sister who fears what is not spoken, torch mouth who speaks the unspeakable, storm body whose steps shatter maps, guide of the wild compass, queen of the edge, unfetterer of the living, voice between echo and silence, watcher in the wake, guardian of the pathless flame, she who breathes between names, the unquiet quiet, Azostos, 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 do this for me. Steady my hand as I walk through the tethers. Teach me the sacred weight of choice. Cleans the marrow of old permissions I no longer need. Let no ghost of the old chains cling to my skin. Let no fear of my own freedom sour my steps. Let me remember I am not adrift. I am unbound. I am not lost. I am uncaged. By the fire of your breath, by the storm of your feet, by the wild order you reveal in all things untamed. So be it, so it begins, so I walk. Feel the weight leave your hands as you set down whatever you are carrying or holding. Unbound. Am I right or am I right? Shed it all. How do we feel? How do we feel? Do you feel a little relieved, unweighted, charity? Oh, welcome. Oh, so good to see you. You got to join. Ron, it was good to see you too. Well, sort of. I guess I'm not really seeing anyone, but I love everyone. Thank you for taking time out on your Friday. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and we've got, holidays for those who celebrate coming up. Coachella is going on right now. If anyone is going to that. What do we think? What do we feel? What do we got going on this weekend? The world is your oyster. The full moon is tomorrow. Venus goes direct. Yeah. Very excited about all of these things starting to feel a bit more stable, energy being a little bit more stable, right? Do something nourishing for yourself. Reach out to someone that you've been thinking about under this moon. Under this moon, you might want to it's Libra, right? Do something beautiful. Melanie, you're an artist. I'm sure you'll be creating something lovely. Connections. Say hello to those that you love, that you're thinking of. Give yourself a little balance this weekend too, right? We want to do that. But take it as the gift it is, because we have had much more intense astrological weather than we have this weekend. Take it as a reprieve, as a beautiful service. What do we have here? I think I'm going to start and finish a memorial painting. Oh, for your friend. That I'm so happy that you're doing that. I bet that feels really good to be able to do. And what a beautiful thing to start and finish this memorial painting that you're working on for your friend under this moon. And yeah, so much love to everyone. I'm going to let you get on with your weekend. Again, thank you so much. Melanie says, I'm not able to do his face. You know what? Sit with it for a bit and allow him to show himself to you, how he wants you to remember him by. Or maybe he's showing you a different version of himself as well. That can happen when our past loved ones come back to us. And also, this is quite new for you as well. He is quite a new spirit. So that's, you may not be able to do his face right now too, because there may be a disconnect. Sometimes it's hard, right, to digest that energy right away. Oh, good. I got a little piece of hair. I love you too. Yeah, for those who have past loved ones, when they pass right away, it's, sometimes difficult. We find like right away, like when they pass, like we might feel their energy and their presence really strongly. But as the weeks go, it might start to feel a little thinning. That doesn't mean that they're disappearing from you being able to contact them. They're ascending and they're getting their sea legs, so to speak, on the other side. And then they'll get that strength back up, and they'll be able to much easier come back and communicate. But they're kind of like, they're being welcomed into their own little party, right? They gotta see what's going on. They've got people on the other side that they're like, whoa, you're my great grandmother. and you're my mom from another life, and you're my this and that, and it's a big, homecoming on the other side as well. And they're learning new lessons, and they're learning new strengths, and they're gaining all this like beautiful intel from that side, and then they'll be able to kind of get that energy to come back and forth to be like, hey, I see you. I can still hear when you call my name. So they're always there. It's just don't ever be discouraged when they're more silent than you're used to. I hope that helps. I definitely hope that helps. Let's see, what do we got? Jill! Hey! How's it going? All right. So you have the ritual. You've got it on Patreon. You can use it, abuse it, whatever you like. It is a ritual in progress. I didn't get a chance to like do my redos as much as I like to. So have fun with it. If you want to use it, feel free. Make it your own. Or use the one that I've got there. Add some new movements to it if you like. I put some movements in, but add some movements in on if you like. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Do we like the Nomine Hekates going every 2 weeks? I'm really liking them. It feels like what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It feels what I'm called to do. And for those of you who are in the coven, that we do our own rituals, but like this is just my way of being able to open this up to the public as much as I can, because it's very important to me to do this. Okay, I'm rambling. 2 weeks from now, I think it's on April 23rd is the next Nomine Hekate. Oh, thank you, Melanie, appreciate it. And other than that, real fast, you already saw that I'm doing an oracular mediumship course on the Miskatonic platform. I'm really honored to have been given this opportunity, and I hope that some of you will be able to check it out. It's not available to purchase yet, but it is available to sign up so you get notified when it's ready to be purchased. It will be released, ready to rock and roll on your side on May 31st. So I'm assuming it'll be available to purchase in like a week, probably. I'm assuming. But you'll definitely hear on my Patreon and in my socials when that's up and ready. I'm really excited about it. It's 8 weeks, and we're going to be going through the oracles of ancient history, and we're going to be taking some of their goodies and bringing them through a modern, contemporary mediumship lens. And there's rituals in there, and so good, so good. And then I have the Salem Witch Fest, Salem Witch Fest and Folklore. Excuse me, I'm not saying it right. The Salem Witchcraft and Folklore Festival coming up in August, and that is online. And it's only like an hour and a half, and I think it's only like $30 to do my course on Azostos. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff there too. But yeah, I'll be putting links up to all of that. Well, the link's already up, but I'll be talking about it a lot more. All right. I love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you soon.